In this video, we're going to look at how to add some more lights to our circuit and modify our code to turn more lights on at the same time, or maybe in a sequence. We'll figure that out when we get to that part. So we're going to go ahead and click on code. That'll toggle our code off and bring us back to our component window. And then here on the drop down, we're just going to go into the basic component toolbox. We're going to drag out some resistors and LEDs. Let's start by dragging out two LEDs. We're just going to put them maybe over here on the side. And then we're going to drag a resistor over for each one. And you'll notice that I just drag them out and they snap on and connect. And then we just need to wire these up. So I'm going to run a cord from the cathode of this LED down to the ground. And you'll notice that it sort of turns red. That means I can make a connection. There we go. And then I'm going to change my color to black just to remind myself that this is a ground wire. I'm going to do the same thing for this LED from the cathode down to ground. Switch the color to black. And then I just need to connect these two LEDs with power. So let's go from 12 up to this one, and let's go from 11 up to this one. And we can change the color. Maybe let's go orange, and I'll set this middle one to, I don't know, blue. Doesn't really matter. You can pick whatever colors you want, but this will help me in my explanation here on this video. We're then going to go back to the code and figure out what do we need to do to get these lights to turn on. Because if I hit start simulation, it's only going to power up pin 13. If I was to wire these resistors directly to pin 13, the lights would turn on at the same time. So I could do something like that by clicking here, stopping my simulation, clicking here and wiring it to pin 13. Okay, just like that. And I missed it a few times, but that's okay. And if I hit start simulation, you'll notice the lights turn on and off together. And if I wanted to do it with the third light, I'd simply connect it to pin 13 as well. But let's stop our simulation. I'm going to delete that cord, that wire, and we're going to look at how do we code all three to go in sequence. So in our last video, we talked about pin mode and how it sets the data type or the output or input state of a pin. We're just going to copy that line. We're going to hit enter a couple times and paste it. Copy and paste is your friend when you're just learning this stuff, because that way you limit your typos. And all three lights are going to send data out to our environment, things that we can see. They're going to be outputs. So all we have to do is change the pin mode. So let's say 12 and 11. Okay, so sequentially we go 13, 12, 11. We're going to count down 13, 12, 11. Let's go ahead and change our 3000 from our last code video down to 1000 again, so that our timer is on and then off. And if we hit start, we'll notice that it still doesn't work. It's still the same first light working. And that's because even though we set the pin mode for 12 and 11, we never actually told it to do anything with those pins. So we're going to hit stop simulation, and we're going to copy this chunk of code, and I'm going to highlight all four lines, hit Control C on my keyboard, then select the end and hit enter, and then I'm going to paste it. I'm going to paste it twice. And then what I'm going to do is just change these 13s to my pin numbers just to see what happens. So let's change this one to 12. So these two middle ones to 12 and these last ones to 11. So now thinking back to all the lessons we did in block-based coding, if I enter my loop sequentially, go from top to bottom, I should see my light turn on pin 13, then off, on pin 12, and then off, and then on pin 11, and then off. So let's hit start simulation and see what that does. So there's our first light, our second light, and our third light. So that's a great stopping point in this video. Please make sure you can wire this up and get it working. In the next video, we're going to look at how do we clean this up with a breadboard. And then the second last video of this tutorial, we're going to look at how do we parcel this out into a function. And in the very last video of this series, we're going to look at how can we change this into an RGB light.